2025 comes to a close tonight. It hasn't exactly been easy for Wizards fans, but plenty of optimism to think that 2026 can be better. Let's give our New Year's resolutions here on the Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, you are locked on to the Washington Wizards, where you're part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day for one final time here in 2025. We're on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, alongside the DC sports content creating savant Abdullah Ayubi. I'm Ben Strober, and I cover the Washington Wizards for Roundtable IO. On today's show, we give our Washington Wizards New Year's resolutions. We assess what the 2025 year was like for Wizards fans, and we preview Wizards Bucks, which tips off tonight at 8 p.m. Reminder, we won't have the post-game show after the game for you. It'll be out tomorrow, though, so be on the lookout for that. AB, how's it going? What you got going on for New Year's tonight?
Tonight, a lot of things going on. The never-ending story in Stranger Things is finally coming to an end. Miami, Ohio State, that should be a fun game. I realized also, Ben, on yesterday's episode, I said A.J. Johnson instead of A.J. Jabonza when I asked Nathan about him. So that's hopefully a problem that won't happen again. But should be a fun night tonight. It's crazy, Ben. The year just flies by, and now it's 2026.
Yeah. And A.J. Johnson, A.J. Jabonza, like basically the same thing, right? No. Well, they both are A.J.s. They might be pretty different in skill, but we don't even see A.J. Johnson play very much.
Unfortunately,
but no, I'm looking forward to 2026. 'Cause I think this could be the year where you see this Washington Wizards team hopefully take the next step. Hopefully you have some things go your way. I want to touch on that more in the second segment. But here in segment number one, New Year's resolutions for this Wizards team. And it's not easy to pinpoint directly what are the resolutions this team needs, because you're not going to see direct changes to a lot of these things early on here, because we know the position that this team is, the position the organization is in. I think they're fairly comfortable with how this year has gone. You're up to 7 wins. Maybe that makes them a little bit uncomfortable now that they don't even have the top odds, I guess, at landing the number one pick right now, because Indiana's technically ahead of them with just 6 wins and more losses right now. But in terms of development, you've seen some pretty nice things over the last calendar year or so. But I'd like to see this team focus in the offseason on rebounding the basketball. I think rebounding has been a big issue for this Wizards team, and obviously that's by design. And Alex Sarr, he's gotten a little bit better here in year number 2 as a rebounder, but you'd like to see them hopefully get a bona fide rebounding option in this upcoming draft, or address it in free agency if that's not the route they go. Like if they do get a AJ Jabonza or whatever in this draft, you're going to need some more help in your front court, some more ability to rebound the basketball. If you do get Cameron Boozer, I think that's going to slot in and be the guy that really helps you out on the glass. National Player of the Year recognition potentially for Boozer this year at Duke, 23 points, 10 rebounds. So you love to see a guy that's averaging those double-digit board games. In the ACC right now, he is balling out. He looks like a very capable rebounder, especially on the offensive side of the glass as well. I know you got a big rebounding stud in Justin Champagnie on this team, but you need somebody at around 7 foot that can help you out from that realm, because we're allowing too many second chance opportunities right now. We have so in the entire last calendar year, so that's the number one for me right now.
Yeah, that's a good point, Ben. I think that's everyone's wish as a Wizards fan going into the new year, getting guys that can rebound, because for so long here, just bottom 3, bottom 5 in rebounding is. And as much as I love JC, he's only 6'6", 6'7", and we need someone out there that can go and rebound as a 7-footer. We thought we had that with Jonas Valanciunas, but essentially he wasn't part of the long-term plan here in Washington. I think for me, a New Year's resolution, outside of landing a top 3 pick and hopefully Boozer and Jabonza, I want to see the development of our young guys going into the second half of the season. Last season we saw jumps with Alex Sarr, Keyshawn, and Bub. How different will it be compared to this season, where you trade McCollum? I think that's my resolution. It's 2-parter. You trade a good amount of these vets, a good amount maybe just be one, You trade McCollum and see how that helps the young guys, and not just Trey Johnson, but the 2024 draft class, because those three guys are essentially the main core. As much as you guys want to hear us talk about Trey Johnson, hopefully a top 3 pick in DeBonza, Boozer, Peterson, the 2024 draft class is that nucleus, and that's what this team is building around. That's what Will Dawkins is trying to do, is build a sustainable winning team around this young three, the hopeful big three that we have. And I want to see the development. I want to see, can Alex Sarr average hopefully 10 rebounds a game. We've seen these past couple of games where he gets 3 or 6. I don't want to see that. If he's out there playing if it's at a minute restriction, then I understand. But if he's let loose, no minute restriction, can you go out there and get 10 plus rebounds a game? You're a monster. Keyshawn George. The foul trouble that he's in a lot of these games, the aggressive defense, we love it. Can he work on that, being disciplined, staying on his feet? And Bub Carrington, the turnovers, he's gotten better recently. However, we want to see that moving forward, a efficient guard, a combo guard. He's flipped the corner, he's flipped the switch, he's turned the corner when it comes to how he started off this season compared to where he is now. So that's what I'm looking at, this main nucleus, and see how they can play in the second half of this season.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because I really like what Sarr and Keyshawn have brought to the table. I've already, coined them as two of your buildable pieces that you have right now. I think those two easily can be high-level starters on a playoff team, and hopefully you see something like that within the next maybe year or 2 years if you're lucky here in DC. Next year, you'd be pretty lucky, I think, to be a playoff team. I know we had Nathan Grubel on yesterday from Locked On NBA Draft, No Ceilings, who said, maybe if they do get a top 3 pick in this upcoming draft and you fill some ancillary pieces with some other veterans that maybe you bring in, whether it comes in a kind of bad contract or something when you trade CJ McCollum or however it may be, maybe there's a possibility you flirt with the play-in next year. There's going to be an expectation for them to win more and to be a just better product overall. I'll talk more about that in the second segment. So one of my other resolutions I had, regardless of the results that the Wizards are predicated on, which is probably losing a lot of these games, you got to defend the 3 ball a lot better. Bottom 3 right now, third worst team in the NBA defending the 3. They're allowing 14.7 per game. Consistently, it's been a massive issue. And against Phoenix, wasn't surprised the fourth quarter that game went the way it did. I think the Wizards kind of ran out of gas. And ultimately, Phoenix is a team that shoots a ton of three-pointers. They make a ton of three-pointers. And when you're facing the growing NBA three-point shot, which continues to get more and more prevalent around teams. You have teams like Boston that shoot over 50 of them every single night. If you can't defend the 3 ball, you can't rotate well enough or get to your spots defensively to defend it against teams that move the basketball really well. It's going to be tough to stop anybody defensively, no matter how good you get offensively over the next year or so, depending on what you do in the draft. You got to defend the 3 ball better because that is a killer for any team. If you're allowing 15 of those per night, let me do the quick maths. What is that, 45 points that you're allowing every single night just on three-pointers alone? So that's a big issue going forward. And you couple that with the rebounding issue, allowing second chance opportunities, which so often turn into open three-point shots because guys are out of position. That's the big problem you're going to run into. They got to find some ways to, keep things within the shell, is what Brian Keefe has said multiple times. It's a lot of times what the players say is that there's a hard outer shell that they like to play defensively, but at times you see that breaking down a little bit. And maybe because they push the ball so much and pace is something where they're still top 7 right now. I'll get the stat for that in just a second. Maybe that's made things a little bit more difficult for them defending the 3 because they get beat in transition pretty often. But overall, just defend the 3 ball better. Whether it happens this year or into the next year when the 2026 season, it's got to get better in the next calendar year.
Yeah, rebounding and three-point shooting, that's been the Achilles heel in DC so far. And again, it's by design. You want to tank. That's the main objective going into this season. I'd say, for me, Ben, I think the idea of having a point guard sometime this year, it can be tomorrow or it can be December 31st, you need to have a pure point guard in this room. Nathan talked about how this Wizards roster is the worst point guard room in the NBA. And again, that might be going back to the whole having that flaw as a design, but you need someone that can control this offense, be the conductor of this offense. Bub Carrington, we all know by now, combo guard role. That's what he's best suited at. That's where he's really good at. But guys like Alex Sarr, guys like Keyshawn George, guys like Bilal Coulibaly, they'll thrive better offensively if they have someone that can throw them that lob, be that pick and roll conductor. We've seen it time and time and again. Their numbers are pretty good right now, but they'll probably go even farther when they have someone that can control this offense. And we'll see if that's in the draft, in free agency. But my New Year's resolution is we need a point guard here in the district.
Yeah, that's a big one, and I think it's going to be addressed in the offseason. I really do hope so. We'll see what happens with that. I think it's a good stopping point on the resolutions. 2025, as it comes to a close, we reflect on it. I think it was a pretty hard year for a lot of Wizards fans for plenty of reasons, but I'm hopeful 2026 is going to be better. I'll tell you why when we come back. During basketball season, there's nothing like being in the building, the energy, the crowd. That first big run that gets everyone on their feet. Fans want to be there for those moments, not stuck refreshing screens or guessing what tickets are really going to cost. That's where Game Time comes in. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage back, making it incredibly easy to score amazing tickets. Fast, simple, and without the guesswork. Browsing the Game Time app is straightforward and intuitive. Finding tickets takes just a few taps. Seeing the view from your seat before buying makes choosing tickets easy and confident. Prices include fees up front, so the total is clear from the start. Features like zone deals help unlock great seats at even better value. Whether it's an NBA game or another live event, everything is right there in one singular place. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app today and get in on the action. Where do I even start for 2025, AB? I feel like a lot of fans probably had the idea on New Year's Day last year that 2025 would be the one where the Wizards turn the corner and you get a top pick. You land Cooper Flag in the draft. And then May 12th happened. May 12th was a very hard day to deal with if you're a Wizards fan. And you out there watching this video right now are probably upset that I'm even talking about it because it's traumatic. It made you realize that you were going to have to deal with at least another year of bottoming out. And whether or not that turns out to be the decision that saves the franchise because you get a top pick this year or not, it was a tough pill to swallow when it actually happened, just because you realized that all of that losing didn't end up being for what the ultimate goal was last offseason. Now you did get Trey Johnson, and Trey Johnson I think looks like one of your buildable pieces. He looks awesome right now, a guy that can score at all three levels, can shoot the hell out of the basketball, and seems like he has that dog mentality needed to be a winning basketball player, and he's lived up to the billing so far in terms of that. But for 2025 to kind of go the way it did for Wizards fans, I understand why it's been difficult, and it's been almost impossible at times to watch this team, to root for this team. But I'm really optimistic, AB, that 2026 is going to be a year where they turn the corner. And whether or not they get the lottery luck that they need, I think, to really take that next step, there's going to be more of an expectation on this team to put forth a better product next year. I don't think you're going to see a team that's bottoming out for a fourth season next year. We've seen the blueprint that's been detailed by plenty of these teams that have rebuilt, and including one of the top seeds in the West right now, the Houston Rockets, who spent 3 years bottoming out. The product, I think, is going to look much better for this Wizards team. I think there's going to be more energy around the team. There's going to be more emphasis put on the team to put forth a better effort every single night. I think 2026 is going to be a lot more exciting for fans than 2025 was, because you're going to have that slither of hope that you're getting to the light at the end of the tunnel in this rebuild.
Yeah, May 12th, like you mentioned, it was one of the worst days being a Wizards fan. And I think the whole idea of the talent that you see in the 2026 draft class gives you some hope. But I think from the track record that we have of just losing out on Cooper Flag, one ball away from Zion Williamson, one ball away from Victor Wembanyama, it's easy to give up on this team. However, if you keep moving forward, take a slight step up, you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel. You'll see what Will Dawkins is trying to build here in DC. This is one thing that not many people want to realize. You can hate on the Wizards. They suck. They'll forever be a bad franchise. But if you look at it from a broader perspective, they tore it down. They're doing it right this time when it comes to being a rebuilding team and going through all these phases. And that's something that we can't say for the past regimes. It was always about getting a mid-star and putting some guys around him and barely getting out the play-in and giving that guy so much money. But now it's different. We're letting these young guys play. We just saw Trey Johnson score 24 points. I mean, he can shoot it from anywhere on the court. Bilal Coulibaly is looking better now offensively, and we're hoping that he can be that key piece here in the district. Alex Sarr looks like a star. I mean, outside of Victor Wembanyama, when it comes to having a center on your team, Alex Sarr is up there with some of these guys, Şengün and whatnot. I think you just have to be optimistic because the only way to go up, only way to go from here is up. And with the ideas of landing DeBonza, Peterson, Boozer, Caleb Wilson. I mean, there's so much talent in this upcoming draft class, and I think it will be the year where Adam Silver says, you guys in the district, you've had enough. I understand you missed out on so many guys. I mean, also, think about it. This is just another thing. We got the Alex Sarr in that draft, in that 2024 draft class, which was considered a weak draft class. You land George, 20th overall, or whatever it was, I forgot, sorry. Bub Karen, 24th. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, you landed those three guys, your key nucleus in a weak draft class. Trust what Will Dawkins is doing and just have some faith, guys.
I agree with you. You know, it's something I want to actually bring up that's really ironic about the May 12th date. So May 12th is actually the most significant date, I'd say, in Wizards franchise history. And outside of winning an NBA title in 1978, that was so long ago that a lot of our listeners weren't around for that, obviously, and the team hasn't been to the conference finals since 1979. Locked in Law, I know you watched the game in 1978. You don't have to tell us. But May 12th, 2017 was the best day for a ton of Wizards fans ever. That was Game 6 of the series where John Wall jumped on the scorer's table. That was the peak of my Wizards fandom. I think that was the peak of a lot of you guys watching here, probably the peak for you. AB.
What are the odds, Ben, that it happens on the same day? That's crazy.
It's insane because then 3 days later, Kelly Olynyk snatched our souls and ended all of that, and we've struggled to even get remotely close back to that. And then May 12th, 8 years later, is the worst day for Wizards fans, arguably for a lot of people our young life ever, given how bad that was. I mean, maybe you could say Game 7 3 days later was the worst day of your life. I mean, I'd say that was one of the worst days for me as a fan of this team for sure because of how heartbreaking it was to see Kelly Olynyk drop 26 on us off the bench to beat us in that series. But it's whatever. It's in the past. And then for that to happen on May 12th, 8 years later, where you get screwed in the lottery, it's kind of insane how it just worked out that way, that May 12th is such a significant day in this franchise history. Hopefully May 12th this year. I don't know if the draft lottery is going to be on May 12th again this year or not. I'd have to double check on that. I'm not trying to live that far in the future. Hopefully this May 12th can make up for what happened last May 12th and you get that superstar player. But just going back to this point on real optimism for 2026, it has to be better. It's not like only do I expect it to be better, it has to be better because we know like how the organization has been run for so long before this teardown completely. Like Ted Leonsis never wanted his teams to be this bad. He never had interest in his product being unwatchable at times, inferior for so long. And I think he's given the organization free reign for these 3 seasons to really rebuild and establish a core of young players. But going into year number 4 with a new front office led by Michael Winger and Will Dawkins, Travis Schlenk, the expectations are going to be higher on them. They're going to be expected to put forth a product that can put fans in the seats. That's just the bottom line with this thing. I can't see there being a possibility where they actually tank for a 4th season. And even if things don't go their way in the lottery, I think they're going to have to find a way to pivot because fans are definitely getting restless. One of my friends, a buddy of mine, Bowman, I'll say, I'm not going to drop his full government name, but Bowman, I'll call him because that's his last name. That's my boy Bowman. He wrote an article for his Substack, which he created today out of boredom. And he wrote an article about the state of being a Wizards fan. And he kind of detailed how, is it hard to justify? Does it even make sense? And then he kind of detailed what being a Wizards fan was like for him for a lot of the years. And he kind of takes the perspective of a tired Wizards fans. Because there's a lot of you that are diehards out there that are completely understanding of what the organization is doing right now and fully believe what the organization is doing has been the right thing and they have real direction. And he also understands that as well. He's not a dummy. He fully gets that. But a lot of fans are just tired of the product being as bad as it is, and that's made it really hard for, like, let's say the casual NBA fan. If you weren't that invested in watching the Wizards, but, like, let's just say you're a DC sports fan, maybe you take the Commanders or the Nats or the Caps more seriously, but you root for the Wizards if they're good, like they're in the playoffs. I kind of see myself that way with the Capitals. Because I'm covering the Wizards, I don't get to watch the Capitals that much, but if they're in the playoffs this year, I'm going to be sure I'm watching every single Capitals games. I think there's plenty of Wizards fans that feel that way out there as well. And the fact that it's been so long since they've been there, it's been so long since they've realistically had a chance, they fall into a category of fans that are just tired of the way it's been. So that's why I think next year it'll have to be better.
Yeah, you bring up a lot of good points. Shout out to Bowman. We're all tired, but we know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, like I just mentioned. And it's going to be different. It has to be different because next year there's going to be expectations. We want to see more fans at Capital One Arena. I mean, the last game that we went to, Ben, there was a whole section, and it was like, I think behind courtside, it was empty. And I was just like, wow, like this is where we got to this point. And I think it does make sense because when your team's not winning, it's hard to get fans to pay their hard-earned money to come, travel, with DC Nova traffic. That we can make a whole episode about that. Come to Capital One Arena and watch the product. But it is going to be different. And moving forward, I think we'll see a lot of glimpses in the second half of the season post-trade deadline. I think in free agency, the amount of cap space that you have, Will Dawkins is going to make a lot of these moves that's going to have Wizards fans come back and be that fan base that we were. Because growing up, Ben, we were so used to making the playoffs. When I was a Wizards fan first time 2014, around that with John, Brad, Paul Pierce. It was a norm to make the playoffs every year. But after that peak in 2017, it's just we could never get back there. And that peak was the second round. We didn't even make it to the conference championship. So this time you're doing it different. You have young stars, young athletic, versatile stars that we just haven't had here in so long. And you just have to understand the process. And once you understand the process, your patience and everything that comes with it will start to make sense.
100%. You just got to stay with it at this point and continue to move forward. I think we're going to see them turn the corner this year. Hopefully it happens sooner rather than later. When we come back, let's preview Wizards Bucks, which tips off tonight at 8 p.m. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel is making them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is your official pregame and limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new, boosts, bonuses, and surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy on Friday night without even overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour. Every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Wizards and Bucks tonight at 8 p.m. Last time the Wizards faced off against the Bucks at home, that was at Capital One Arena. 16-point comeback for the Wizards. The Bilal Coulibaly, Balalcatraz game, as I like to call it. Giannis is back from his injury, which came as a scare to Bucks fans after there was all the noise surrounding him after the Wizards had allegedly broken him and he wanted out of Milwaukee. He came back a couple of nights ago, 2 games that he's played against Chicago and Charlotte. He's played in 25 minutes in both of those, so that seems to be the minutes restriction that he's on, much like Alex Starr, much like Trey Johnson. So you're not going to see a healthy dose of Giannis Antetokounmpo, but you will see him out there, which is a good sign for the Bucks, obviously, and the season hasn't quite gone the way the Bucks had hoped at 14-19, but they are more than a capable team. They are a better team, the Wizards, and obviously we saw that on the opening night of the season where they shot the cover off the basketball, especially in the first half. They're very capable from three-point land, shooting 40% as a team right now. Or rather, sorry, that's Giannis's number, not the team numbers. But anyway, they are a capable three-point shooting team with a couple of other really good pieces. Another interesting challenge to see for this Wizards team, how they respond, coming off the loss to the Phoenix Suns, where you were pretty competitive in that one. Let's see if they can maintain a performance like that again, AB.
Yeah, Giannis, it's funny that you mentioned how we broke him because you crossed paths with him, and I think you intimidated him, Ben. He was like, "This is the Locked On Wizards host. I gotta get out of Milwaukee, man."
I'm only like 2 feet shorter than the guy.
Yeah, Giannis, he's an IRL Hulk. But I think tonight you can find a way to be competitive. I think with the injuries, you don't have Ken Whitmore, obviously, no Corey Kispert. I think if Bilal can defensively put up a good fight against Giannis and the 3-point shooting, defensively wise, you got to close them out. AJ Green, Gary Trent Jr., those guys can light it up. Miles Turner. Alex Sarr versus Miles Turner. Can you take advantage of a guy who, in Miles Turner, loves to shoot the 3-point ball well? How does Alex Sarr bounce back from his performance against Phoenix? Trey Johnson, how does he fare after a 24-point game, a career high? Keyshawn, do we know if he's playing? No, Ben, right?
Keyshawn is still out with a
okay.
flexor strain.
So
I think he might be out for more than a couple more games. We'll have to see. I'll ask for an update on Friday when we're back in person covering.
Probably no update, but
yeah, probably said no update.
No update. Yeah, hopefully Keyshawn comes back healthy, and you just gotta figure out a way to keep yourself in the fight. This is the last game of the year, or of the 2025 year. And I think you have a good shot of upsetting this Bucks team because you've seen them multiple times already. And again, if you just find a way to play carefree, Bub Carrington, limit the turnovers, maybe we'll see AJ Johnson tonight going against his former team. That could be something to watch. I know Bobby Portis is a player that can give you 15 to 20 points. I don't know if you saw recently when they played the Bulls, Ben, Giannis scored a dunk, or he had a dunk in the last couple of seconds when they're already winning by 10 to 15 points, and then things got heated and Giannis was trolling. So we'll see. Probably it might get chippy tonight because we know how Giannis is, and he's already lost to the Wizards once already this year, and he's like, I'm not letting that happen again.
I didn't see that. That's actually interesting. Maybe him and Bilal will go at one another.
I could definitely see that.
It'd be interesting, but Bilal's kind of level-headed. I don't really see Bilal being a guy that would get into it with a player, but maybe if somebody works him up enough and it is bothering him that much, or just being a bit if Dylan Brooks can avoid getting under someone's skin on the Wizards, then maybe I don't know who's possible, because Dylan Brooks is the master manipulator of the mind. He can rage bait anybody, most definitely. All the staring stuff that he does before the games is crazy. And I don't know, if I were a player, I feel like if a player was talking that much smack to me, I saw Dylan Brooks make a three in Justin Champagne's face. He's just talking mad trash to him on the way back down the court. I'm like, all right, bro, Dylan Brooks he's a clown. He's just a clown. I love Dylan. I'm saying Dylan Brooks is a clown, but I love him. He's so funny to me.
You gotta have people like that.
Yeah, you just have to have players like that in the league. He's hilarious, and I loved him even when he was in Memphis, and they would do the whole dancing thing with John Morant. they had a lot of aura back then. I was actually mad at Memphis for kind of scapegoating Brooks and getting rid of him, but it's whatever. Back to the Bucks. This does feel like an opportunity where you can go out. Maybe you see a bounce back performance from Alex Sarr, because that was definitely the worst performance of the year that we saw from the second-year center. Took just 5 shots in that game, made one of them. Got to see him be aggressive, be assertive, take it at Giannis. You haven't been scared of anybody this year if you're Alex Sarr. So, keep that going tonight. Get back on track to where you were before the last game.
Did you notice I didn't mention Kyle Kuzma?
I mean, why even bother at this point? What is he even averaging? Let's see.
I have no idea.
I'm gonna look right now. Actually, you can. Let's see. Kyle Kuzma. I was just upstairs talking with my dad an hour ago about Kyle Kuzma. He said Kyle Kuzma was his least favorite player to ever play for the Wizards.
And there's a handful that you could choose, and he chose Kyle Kuzma. It's a funny choice.
I remember when I went to the first game. Not first game. I went to when the team was 10-3. They were playing Charlotte at home or something like that. It was the first time I saw Kuzma play in person, because it was fresh after the trade had happened. And I was like, what the heck is Kyle Kuzma doing out there? He was playing ridiculous that game, just throwing the ball to the other team, taking crazy shots. It was honestly hilarious thinking back. And I don't have anything against Kyle Kuzma personally. Obviously, it wasn't something that was going to work out here. I wish the organization actually traded him a while back, but he didn't want to leave apparently. So okay, I finally am gonna get his page up here. Sorry, it's taking forever.
No, you're good. Kyle Kuzma, go ahead. Did you find it?
Kyle Kuzma is averaging 13.2 points per game. Let's find his splits here. Kuzma shooting splits 50, 30, 75. Okay, it's not too bad. It's actually not that inefficient for Kyle Kuzma. 50% field goal on about 10 attempts per game. It's not too bad. Maybe Kyle Kuzma's Maybe he's playing a little bit more within his role. I'm not watching every Bucks game start to finish, obviously, so I don't have as much information on that.
Did you see, Ben, speaking of that, the Suns fans were commenting on that post-game show talking about, you guys don't watch the Suns, why you're disrespecting us. What's up with that?
Well, one, I wouldn't watch the Suns that much, period. Two, I have like the best excuse to never watch the Suns. I can't watch West Coast basketball. I have to wake up so early. I can't stay up till 1:30 watching the Lakers and the Suns play. And as much as I want to watch the Lakers because of Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves, I can't do it. I physically don't have a job right now that lets me do it. So any West Coast team out there falls into a category where, unless you're on like on the weekend or during the day or something somehow, I probably don't watch a whole lot of you. That's the way it is.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you, dude. It ends at like 1:30, 2 a.m. and it's like, yo, like, come on, what are we doing?
I know you stay up and watch it. Like,
the thing is, like, sometimes, but like the fact that some Suns fans are like, oh, you guys are sleeping on us. Like, you guys really think you're gonna make be a threat in the West? I mean, look at how stacked the West is. Maybe if you were in the East, there would be some conversation of you being the 4th or 5th seed, but like, come on, let's be real.
Yeah, maybe you have a point there. I think they're decent. I just don't know if they're going to have the horses to compete out there in the West, kind of like you say, but who cares? All right, Wizards and Bucks at 8 p.m. Reminder, no post-game show for you tonight, but it'll be out tomorrow. Remember, everybody, have a very safe, happy New Year. Do not
if you drink,
yes,
do not drink it. I was going to say that. I know this is the year this is the time of the year where everyone's having fun, but make sure you drink responsibly. Don't drink and drive. And we'll see you next year, right, Ben? So I had to get that out the way.
You got to say it before January 7th, according to Jason Bishop, or he'll get really mad at you. So good. Get your happy New Year's in, everybody. Enjoy it. We appreciate you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. For my co-host, Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober. Happy New Year.